United States submarine base at Key West, Florida. A dispatch that quoted President Truman's press secretary, Charles Ross, as saying that President Truman has no knowledge of any secret project by this government that would give substance to the existence of such objects. Ross also said that both the Air Force and the Navy deny that such
Hi.
objects exist.
Hi.
It's been a minute.
It has. We had good reason though.
Yeah, we did. We talked about it on Patreon, so I guess we'll give you this for free. The week that we were supposed to do the ghost hunt, I got a little thing called COVID.
Yeah, she got COVID again, which is embarrassing.
Dude, I'm not saying this as a flex. I'm saying this as my brain looks like fucking Swiss cheese. I have had COVID for every year that it's existed. I get it at least once.
There's been another surge though, because you're not the only person I know that has COVID right now, and those circles do not cross. So
I know where I got it from. I got it from Ty on Saturday, the Saturday before Halloween, because Halloween was that next Thursday. The Saturday before is when we went out. I'm trying to make my Queen Amidala headpiece. I'm in the living room, and I just hear
fuck.
And I was like, "Are you good?" And he's like, "Oh, I just got to scratch my throat. Yeah, I'm fine."
No, you liar.
Keelan comes over. We're sitting in the living room, putting our costumes together. You hear upstairs, fully coughing like a fucking iPad toddler, by the way. Could not be bothered to cover his mouth. When he comes trotting down the fucking stairs with his little fucking white claw, he's like, fully mouth open. And we're both looking at him like, can you close your fucking mouth? Can you cover your fucking mouth?
Oh my God.
Literally like an iPad kid. And then in classic super spreader fashion, fucking Tywin and Micah come over. Ginger comes over. We all squeeze into the Subaru and drive to a Halloween party where Ty then proceeds to kiss 3 gay men. So as far as I'm concerned, he just brought the fucking pox blankets to the party.
Oh my God. The biggest case of white crime is just coughing onto the blankets and giving them out to the locals.
That's what he did. That is what he did. And then we all started to fall like fucking flies, dude. We all started to go. And on Monday, so it was staying pretty chill for him. And then on Monday, he was like, I'm really, really sick. And
you're like, I hope you are.
Yeah, I know. I was like, Tywin just texted us and said she tested positive for COVID. So I have a feeling I know what that is.
That's
sure as shit. Sure as shit. And so that's what happened there. So then I had COVID for Halloween, got to spend it in isolation, fighting a fever and sweating and hallucinating. And then after that was the election, which, as we know, we all had to take a moment of silence. And then Chelsea was in Vegas.
Yeah, the election, do you want to know what? Not to make it all about me, but the election was also my anniversary. Oh, I was like,
I know, dude. You guys
went out to
celebrated.
Eat. Yeah, we went out to eat and then we came home and watched election news and we were like, fuck, let's put on Ghost Adventures, which is how we ushered in a year of marriage bliss.
Hey.
But
yeah, that's okay though. You'll be able to celebrate it without that next year. So
yeah, great.
Also, you we'll just be in hell deep by then. Did you get your anniversary gift?
I got it. It was so fucking good. I was roasted the house down boots on anniversary gift. I can't believe you saw what I was planning on giving my husband, knowing that it was shit in comparison. So
no, yours is cool.
Because you're supposed to give paper for the first year, right? And that's a fun thing. They're like, yeah, let's do that. But I don't know what to give Oliver in terms of paper. So what I instead did was order him a WWE fanny pack igloo cooler belt.
That's incredible.
I was like, nice. But what Oliver does is absolutely enlist the help of my friends. And now that I'm remembering back at during FanX, how annoying I was just lingering like a turd.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah, while Malin was trying to help, but he got me
Hmm.
the reemergence, the first issue of Captain America after he like his first Golden Age appearance back,
Yeah.
or his first appearance since the Golden Age when they retired him back. It's a Strange Tales, absolutely beautiful paper. Hear that? Do you hear that ASMR?
No.
Yeah, well, it's hard cased.
There you go. Well, it's gone now.
I fucking was so ready to cry. I was like, yours is better, but next year it's cotton, so I need to just start thinking now
Hmm.
because he's so good. But I think I'm just easy to buy for, so it's his
Yeah,
fault.
you are. But also, the gift you got him is fantastic because I think that's another thing you have to think of when you give gifts is what are they not going to buy for themselves, but would desperately improve their lives in current conditions? And that's what your gift did.
I hope so. It's super cute. I should have put like $1 in it because that would have counted as money. But nope, it was a good time. We really were gonna celebrate in Vegas, which we did. I went down there for roller derby, but really roller derby was kind of the afterthought for the whole team. Everyone was like, fuck, dude, let's just go and have fun. We went to the RuPaul show, drag
Hmm.
race show at the Flamingo, and the headliners for the night were Derek Barry, Latrice Royale,
Hmm.
Nymphia Wind, and Kennedy Davenport. And then the host was Lawrence Cheney, which I don't know if that sounds familiar to you, but our work hired them to do drag race bingo for us one time.
Yes.
That was tight. It was so funny. I definitely cried just because of how beautiful it was
Hmm.
to see drag queens. I love them, and I'm also a baby. And then
Yeah.
the real creme de la creme,
The reason why we're here today.
the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum.
Let's tell me about it because well, we're obviously going to have to go for sure. But before you guys went, my phone was obviously listening to us and started showing me videos of people who had gone to the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum and said like they genuinely felt like the presence of something. And one girl was even like, I feel like something came home with me and all of these
Mm-hmm.
atrocities happened. And just, and it was like they were being very for real about it. And yeah, so I want to know what your thoughts were.
Okay, so first things first, we get an Uber to go there. And the guy who's driving our Uber is Australian. And he's like, I know it's not a fucking Karen as we get in. And we're like, hell yeah. This guy actually has his own YouTube called the Black Collar Project, where he
Black
also does
collar.
ghosted. Yeah. So like blue collar, but black collar project. And
And he's doing ghost adventures?
well, he doesn't do ghost adventures, but he does
Oh,
his own ghost investigations. But he's been to Utah.
that's a ghost adventure, bitch.
Well, he does his own yeah, he does his own ghost adventures. But he was super cool and he was telling us like all this cool like Vegas lore and everything. But anyway, so he drops us off.
How synchronicitous.
Yeah, and they're so fucking nice there. So we get out of the car and then a security guy walks up to us. He's like, "Hi, are you here for a tour?" And we're like, "Yep." And he's like, "Are you already registered?" We say, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, great. Come here. We'll get you checked in." They walk us out to the front and then the front yard is really cute. It has gargoyles and stuff. I posted a picture of me with the gargoyle on my Instagram. And then they time the tours kind of like they do with a haunted house. So you have to wait a little bit. We waited maybe 5 minutes and then they brought us into the lobby. And the lobby has all these pictures of famous people who have been there.
Hmm.
My favorite was Nicolas Cage, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the
Well,
lobby is dark.
notorious. Other celebrity who also co-signs on the things follow you was Post Malone. Because
Posty
after,
post.
yeah, after Post Malone, like, didn't he like touch something and then he got in that
Oh,
horrific
we're gonna,
fucking. Okay,
yes, we're gonna go
okay,
into it, bitch. We're gonna go
okay,
into
here
it.
we go.
So Posty Post was there. Liam Payne, rip. I was like,
Yeah.
no, what no, it's too soon. But basically you wait there and there is a bit of an upsell that happens. We had already bought the VIP tickets, but I recommend everyone do that because you get to go into more rooms on the tour. It's still kind of the same tour, but with more access. But then you get a free shirt at the end, and the shirts are like $40. So you save money by doing that.
Oh yeah, that's incredible.
Um, yeah, so that's why I would recommend that. But all right, here we go into the tour. First off, everything is very dark. And I'm not going to go into like super detail on everything we did, but I'll hit the highlights. Um, we got to see the devil's rocking chair, like from the Conjuring 3, where that the devil is like in the rocking chair. They have
Mm.
it, and it's behind plexiglass. And then you get to kind of go up and see, and you can still see like the oil stains from where the priest was trying to get the devil out during this exorcism.
Ooh.
They had Kevorkian's van where he used to do all of his assisted suicides. That room felt heavy.
That's actually incredible.
Yeah, and you get like you're not touching anything, but you're like within, like you can like lean in and look so long as you're not being like obnoxious and stuff. And also everything is staged. So they have like a mannequin in there that is fully dressed like one of the patients. And then they have quotes on the walls from different newspapers. They have people saying like, I'm choosing to do this because I don't want dementia to take me and I don't want my family to see me like that.
Mm.
And so they also had like the controversial people who like this person actually did not want like had apparently changed their mind according
Hmm.
to like court documents and stuff. So that was very neat. They had a serial killer room with like they had some of the, like the cremated remains of Charles Manson. They had his hospital robe he was wearing when he died. They had his dentures. They had some of the original paintings from Gacy.
Mm.
They had some of the glasses and a kill kit from Bundy. That room, like, so when I say it was very atmospheric, um, you can say whether that's to haunting or with staging. Because when you're in there again, it's like all these quotes, and then you have a tour guide, but also the tour guide brings you into the room, and then a little TV will play with like Zach Baggins narrating some of the stuff. And I felt fucking furious in that room. So I was like, suddenly an urge overcame me and like wanted to start swinging. I felt like that, right? Where I was like, I want to fuck these people up. Then there was like Peggy the Death Doll, where like if you look into her eyes, uh one of the VIP things was we got to go down in the basement where supposedly like actual um satanic rituals happen. And that was documented. It wasn't one of those things of like satanic rituals maybe happened here, but there was like actual child abuse that happened down there. Um,
What is the building?
fucking Jenna Jameson's old family home, if you can believe that.
Oh
Um,
shit.
so that's where they got some of the information about like the ritualistic child abuse that happened there was from Jenna Jameson. And they also have her brother's birth certificate saying that he was born in that home and that like, so like everything there is like quote unquote proven, right? It's like
Hmm.
so much documentation is on the walls, is like blown up newspaper articles that prove a lot of the stuff. Um, and then the tour guide, it was really cool because in some of it, she would be like, oh, if you are in this room and there are rumors that if you're like in close proximity to this object, that some of the curse will get on you. For example, we have the rear axle from James Dean that has been linked to numerous deaths. Anyway, enjoy, closes the door, and then this glass goes, and then there's the axle on the wall. So it was intense like that. There were areas that were very cold. You can tell they pumped up the air conditioning. Oliver said that like we went into the demon house room, which was Zach Baggins' documentary. He moved the staircase and then the dirt under the stairs in the house. And that was another one where Oliver was like, it smelled like fucking death in there. And so it was very atmospheric in that. And then that was the one room where I felt like I was going to faint. I was like, I'm going to pass the fuck out. And I don't know why. It wasn't claustrophobia. I can't smell anything. It wasn't the cold. I was like, I was dressed warmly, thank God. But it was very like tense and heavy in parts of it. And these are just like little tidbits from the house. And there are areas where they say that, like, okay, you may be hexed, that you can definitely take something home with you. You don't have to go in here if you don't want to. And one of those rooms, the only room I refuse to go into, is what we are going to talk about today, which is the most haunted object in the world, the Dybbuk box.
Incredible.
So imagine, Noelle, if you will, a small, unassuming wooden cabinet a simple box with a faded finish, no bigger than a standard wine cabinet.
And it
It will
almost looks like a
fit.
wine cabinet.
It literally is because it has grapes for handles.
Yeah.
It would fit like this is something that would be on your grandma's kitchen cabinet, and you open it up and it holds maybe 4 or 5 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
Um, Pretty unassuming,
Hmm.
but within this modest box, there are stories that claim that there lurks a dark, restless spirit, a Dybbuk, which is a vengeful soul condemned by its past to haunt the living. So the Dybbuk box has now, in pop culture, become a symbol for supernatural dread. It also has credence in legend, both ancient and modern, that is fucking scary when you consider what we know about life, death, and malevolent spirits that lie in between. So let's talk about the specific Dybbuk box that was at the Baggins Haunted Museum, and I refused to look at it. I stayed in the side room that talked about what was in it. Oliver went in and looked at it, and he said it was scary. So this tale begins in Portland, Oregon in 2003, where a furniture refurbisher named Kevin Mannis visited a yard sale.
Also,
He was
say
looking-
that 10 times fast.
No, I
Furniture,
can't.
refurnisher.
Furniture. Gotta wet my palate with some turmeric tea. He was looking for pieces to restore and sell when he noticed an old wine cabinet. Now, its exterior really held no hint of mystery or danger. It was simply another unique antique, a curio. Literally, it looks like, do you remember those old popular jewelry boxes that all millennial girls had?
Yeah, and they were
It's like brown.
velvet. Yeah.
Yeah,
had the
it
crushed
opens up to the
inside.
velvet,
Yeah.
and then the little, it
Drawer.
looks like that.
The ring
It
drawer at the
like that.
bottom. Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like that.
So, but as Manus listened to the seller's granddaughter, he learned that it was really no ordinary item because his granddaughter explained that the box had belonged to her grandmother, who was a Holocaust survivor named Havela, who had lived to the remarkable age of 103.
Well,
And for Havela, the box was sacred and to be feared. She called it a Dybbuk box, and she insisted that it remain closed at all times. And the granddaughter told Manus that, quote, my grandmother always kept it locked away, far out of reach. She said a Dybbuk, a restless, angry spirit, lived within it, and that if the box was ever opened, misfortune would follow.
did
So
you
Yeah.
do you know why the spirit is in the box? Did someone put it there?
Yes.
Are we going to talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Go on.
So Manus was very intrigued, and he really dismissed the warning as a superstition, which fucking big mistake opening of a horror
Classic.
movie.
Classic white man.
Yeah, he bought the cabinet, and he was unaware that this choice would mark the beginning of a very long and sinister tale. So let's talk about the Dybbuk itself. This is something that has deep roots in Jewish mysticism. So the Dybbuk has different misspellings or pronunciations, but for us, we're going to be Dybbuk and pronouncing it Dybbuk because we are neither Jewish and we are not educated.
I was going
as
to
well as we
say.
could be.
I was going to say.
So the Dybbuk is a disembodied soul, a wandering spirit unable to find rest that attaches itself to the body of a living host. In Hebrew, Dybbuk comes from davik, meaning to cling, which is a very fitting name for a spirit that, driven by its own sins or unfinished business, invades a host's body, sometimes overtaking their personality entirely. Jewish mysticism, particularly the teachings of the Kabbalistic school of Safed in the 16th century, describes such spirits as trapped between life and death, seeking some kind of twisted redemption.
Oh, okay. For a second there, I was like, there's like two versions, the unfinished business and malevolent spirit, but it's all evil.
Yeah, it's not, there's no reality where it's not like a ghost or a spirit where they could be good or bad, you know?
Mhm.
They're just bad all the time. They're essentially like what we would say demons, demonic possession. Think of that as a Dybbuk.
Is it connected to demon or no? Is this like in a different realm?
I would say yes. I would say Dybbuk and demon or like Davik are all probably the same etymology that leads up to a singular point of origin.
Mm.
Kind of like how you can make the case of Christianity being part of the
Mm,
pyramid leading to one
yeah.
singular like monotheistic
It's
religion. Or
the what do they call it? I literally also, side note, semi-related, watched Heretic, and
it's so bad.
it's so fucking good. There's a monologue about the iterations and the similarities and
Yeah.
what it made me think of. So yeah.
Yes. The Venn diagram definitely has overlaps, I'm sure, between demons and Dybbuks.
Okay.
I think that if you were to say it is a Jewish demon in folklore, you would be correct.
Okay.
And if someone wants to correct us for being wrong, please feel
Yeah,
free.
please do.
Um, so the renowned mystic Isaac Luria explored the phenomenon of the Dybbuk deeply, and he connected them to the concept of like a Gilgul or the transmigration of souls, where spirits would wander until they found a body to possess as they sought closure for their sins, kind of like Voldemort, just like sleuthing around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And Luria's doctrine taught that the spirits unable to reincarnate due to their misdeeds would instead cling to the living in hopes of fulfilling their unfinished tasks, which is a teaching that gave rise to the notion of the Dybbuk in Eastern European Jewish communities.
Hmm.
So Manus brought this Dybbuk box back to his shop, intending to refurbish it and give it to his mother as a gift. But when he opened the box, he instead found a collection of strange items. There were 2 locks of hair bound with a string, a single dried rosebud, a golden goblet, and a granite slab engraved with the Hebrew word shalom, 2 pennies from the 1920s, and a candle holder with 4 legs.
Okay. I don't want to freak you out. There's only 2 things in that list that I don't have on it on a shelf in a cabinet right there.
So this is going to be kind of unrelated, but I was looking up some folk magic, Appalachian folk magic,
hmm
and a lot of this stuff was the same, but for purposes of good,
Yeah, that's what I'm
especially pennies of your birth year.
Pennies of Breath is good. I was gonna say because like
Yeah.
um I have locks of Ty's hair in
Hmm.
a vintage green goblet that has it's legged and like dried roses
Hmm.
and I don't have anything engraved with the Hebrew word shalom and I have pennies on it too.
Yeah. I
So,
don't think you are creating a Dybbuk box.
okay,
I
cool.
think that you are creating something that with intentionality could have more power depending on how you want to focus that intentionality. And I only would, I maybe on any other day, I would say you're playing with fucking fire. But I literally looked up Appalachian folk spells yesterday, and a lot of that stuff was the same for good
Yeah,
things.
it's interesting how
Like,
it like turns.
yeah,
But I guess I'm not a malevolent spirit looking for a human host.
but you could potentially create something very evil. So just be careful. Don't get mad and don't go ham and don't, but also Ty better mind his P's and Q's because you could fuck with him greatly. So
Ooh, what did you
love
get?
that
What
for
coffee
him.
did you get?
I know. Ooh, a medicine ball tea.
Wow.
Oh my God. Whenever get a medicine ball every time you go to Starbucks, everyone.
Yeah,
Also, sorry for supporting Starbucks, but I gotta.
that's
Sometimes medicine isn't good for you. Sometimes medicine is a street drug, and
hmm
mine is Starbucks, and I know I'm a piece of shit for it.
Dude, I love the medicine ball. It really
Oh, it's so
cures.
good.
It's what I had. I got it during
Um,
COVID.
yeah, if you're heavy in your heart and soul,
hmm
that's the cure. That's the cure. So anyway, yeah, these items definitely are ritualistic and arranged with care. They were definitely put in there with intentionality. And definitely each one obviously held a meaning beyond its mundane appearance. Everything separate, totally innocuous. All together, this guy should have been a little scared. Um, And initially he wasn't. He shrugged off the findings, but he would come to regret what he did. Till the day he dies, I'm sure.
I like the idea of him opening it and like seeing this collection of objectively creepy things and just being like, ah, and like just swiping it like off to the side
Oh, you know what he did? He closed it and gave it to his mom as a present.
with the hair inside still.
Literally everything's still in it.
That's crazy. I would have at least opened a garbage bag and dumped it in.
Yeah. No, he didn't even clean out the curse. He just
Not
raw
even.
dogged evil straight to
Dude.
his mom.
There wasn't a paper towel with Windex in sight.
No, he didn't even go like this.
She blew into the mic for those who could hear it.
Did it? Oh, did it
Yeah.
max out? Yeah, he didn't even go.
There you go.
Yeah, didn't even
That's-
do that. He was just like, whatever.
What
And he
type
was
of-
gonna refinish it.
I was
and he
gonna
didn't
say,
even
what
empty it
type of
out.
refinisher is he? Does he really just mean like I find garbage and sell it as garbage? He's not actually refinishing anything.
He's a quote unquote thrifter with a spending problem, aka a
me.
refinisher.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So the first sign that something was wrong was when he gave the box to his mom because she opened it, described a sudden chill in the room, felt a heaviness take over her, and without warning, suffered a stroke.
Oh shit.
Literally right as she opens it. She's like, oh, it's cold. Something doesn't feel right. I feel heavy. Gets a stroke.
Damn.
And this was only step one on a chain of misfortune and terror. Because the people closest to Manus began reporting strange occurrences and intense nightmares involving a sinister woman with hollow eyes. His siblings reported eerie scents like jasmine and ammonia emanating from the box.
That's weird. That's a weird
Lights
combination.
flickered. Well, I'm sure if you look up jasmine and ammonia from the Holocaust, I'm sure that would have some significance.
Oh, fuck. I forgot that part where it came from like a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah. Yep.
Ugh.
So the ammonia, I bet, was like a Nazi tool for so then lights were flickering, objects were moving on their own, shadows started to dart across the room, and they were only visible out of your peripheral vision. Like classic Hatman shadow people energy.
Yeah, that's like in Hereditary.
Uh-huh.
Like you catch it the first time or on the rewatch that like in every corner like of your eye there's a fucking shadow person.
Mm-hmm. And he felt desperate, but not desperate enough to do anything about it because he just took the box from his home and put it in his shop.
He said, sorry.
Yeah. So there, it continued to wreak havoc. It led to a tragic incident in which a friend of his employee, after visiting the shop and touching the box, died by suicide after.
Mm.
And Manus, now at his wit's end, decided to get rid of the box. Guess what he did? What would you do, Noelle? Would you list it on eBay?
No, I would
Well, that's what he
probably
did.
burn it or bury it. He listed it on an eBay.
I would have found,
And Zach Bagans was like, yeah.
yeah, I would have found a fucking rabbi, bitch. I would have been Googling rabbi near me, punching in my zip code, and I would have brought it immediately there.
I bet they would have been like, no, don't bring it here,
Like,
bitch.
well, they probably would have been like, don't put that shit on eBay, homie. Like,
Yeah.
maybe not. So he puts it on eBay and he hopes that someone will take it off his hands. And he did describe the terrifying experiences he and others endured. He did fully disclose that he had a quote tidal wave of bad luck that had befallen on anyone who came in contact with the box. Yeah. But he did say, like, help me. Help me get rid of this cursed object. I don't know what to do with it.
Oh, I'm so torn on this because if I was on eBay, minding my P's and Q's, and I saw like haunted wine box and it was like, please help me, I would be like, how much is it with shipping?
Yeah. Minimum bid. And then immediately get out bid. And you're like, I'm just going to watch this till it's done, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this online auction marked the birth of the modern Dybbuk Box legend, which now I'm sure, like, if you talk to anyone interested in haunted objects, specifically religious haunted objects, they will know about a Dybbuk Box. So Zach Baggins doesn't come into the game yet because the next person to buy the box was a guy named Jason Haxon. And he was the director of the Museum of Osteopathic Medicine in Kirksville, Missouri.
Oh,
And Haxton had a background in studying ancient artifacts,
there
and
it
he was
is.
pretty skeptical of Manus's story. He assumed that it was just an urban legend to boost online sales, but he had that director of osteopathic medicine money, so he bought it just to see what would happen,
Yeah.
you know? But guess what? He acquired the box and immediately began to experience a series of bizarre health issues. And when I say bizarre health issues, I don't mean tummy ache. I mean, he started to bleed from his fucking eyeballs. He got skin rashes and lesions, and he started to break out into choking fits. He was afflicted, one might say.
Mhm.
At night, he dreamt of a haggard old woman who seemed to embody the box's dark presence. And then he eventually wrote a book about what he experienced and recounted these horrors in detail. And in an interview at first, he said, I didn't believe any of it, but the pain, the visions, it was real. It felt like the box's energy was attacking me from within as if it was somehow alive. Luckily, this guy sought the advice from a rabbi who instructed him to encase the box in gold and wood to nullify its malevolent energy.
That's weird.
And
Gold and wood.
yeah, he was desperate for relief, so he did it and he buried the box in an undisclosed location in Missouri. Um, but this is where things get a little weird, right? Because his ordeal with the box wasn't over. And eventually, the box found its way into the hands of Zach Baggins, paranormal investigator and host of the popular show Ghost Adventures.
Did he
Um,
say how he found it? How he got it?
no. And I wonder if a lot of the way that he comes in to these objects, he says he discloses all of it, right? He says, yes, I got this one off an auction. Oh, I got this one out of an estate. And a lot of these auctions are like collector's auctions. Like
Hmm.
he mentioned that for the broken axle for James Dean's car, that was like a $330,000 bid for him to get it. Like he goes to these like he's running with the big wigs when it comes to like procuring these objects. So it is weird where it's like
Hmm.
blur and then the box comes into his possession. But you know
Hmm.
what? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna become a Zach Baggins simp because before we were always like Zach Baggins is a bitch. Like he flexes on camera. Then I found out that he pays his employees starting out $86,000 a year.
Crazy.
Though all of the employees there were speaking really highly of him, but not highly in a way of like, yeah, it's really cool to work for Zach Baggins, but they're like, oh yeah, he really cares about us. He knows all our names, he knows our families' names, he knows what's going on. If we have an issue with anything going on in the museum, he fixes it personally. So they're like, if there's like a light bulb blown out, we don't have light bulbs. The manager texts him and he runs in real quick and fixes it and leaves. Like he gives a shit. And one of their employees died at home, like had an aneurysm, and then he has like a shrine built for them next to their favorite exhibit. And I was like, Tech Baggins is cool as fuck.
That's
Um,
cute. That's actually
and
cute.
and then he had like Patrick Swayze's tooth, which
What the fuck?
had yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on around about the tooth because Patrick Swayze's estate was like, don't remove anything. And his like girlfriend at the time took one of his teeth and sold it. Zach Baggins got it and then reached out to his family and was like, I will give this back to you. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to do anything. And they were like, it is what it is now. You know what I mean? So there's stuff like that where he does reach out and try to talk to the families and stuff.
Hmm.
So I was like, kind of a Zach Baggins simp now. So I'm
Yeah.
sure, however, he got the box, it's private for a private reason, not probably to protect certain interests involved. So
Yeah. I bet like someone in this guy's family was like, here's the thing. If like my uncle had buried a cursed box in some abandoned field by our house and I knew about it, and then I also knew that Zach Bagans was opening a haunted museum, I would be like, dollar signs. I would look like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
I would be
The
swan
way my
diving in.
pupils. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would pull a David. My pupils would change from circles to dollar signs. I'm on a different timeline.
Yeah. I would have gotten the metal detector out and
Yeah.
figured it out.
Yep. I would have saran wrapped that shit so it's not coming open. I would have been one of those annoying people going through TSA, but
Hmm.
saran wrapping it, fucking shipping it.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously Zach Baggins gets it and he installs it as a major attraction in the haunted museum. And I can say this firsthand is that it's two rooms, like you go into I'm going to say like an intro room where it has like descriptions of the box and history. And then there's a door and you can go into that extra door and go see the Dybbuk box. When I got in there, I felt very scared. And it wasn't like haunted house scared where you're like, ooh, what's next? What's
Hmm.
next? But like an absolute dread and just this sickness, not like a physical illness, but like my very being just felt wrong. And I
Mm.
don't really know how to describe it, but there was just something that I knew in the fabric of my being passed down from my lizard brain. Like, do not fuck with that. Do not go in there. Um,
It's interesting because I went to the Museum of Death in New Orleans and I felt mm, like very unaffected.
yeah.
And like I don't know if that's just like because there was no hype around it having like a presence or
Yeah.
malevolence. Like I think when you give a guide and then you have everything staged and set up
Hmm.
and like so it's almost like you're walking into a themed room and the guide is participating in the theme and like it's I'm not saying like you're being set up, but you're immediately in like a different, more aware environment. Whereas like the Museum of Death is just like a giant building and you walk through it and like read and stop and like corners of it
Yeah.
are themed for sure, but it's kind of like a self-guided tour.
Yeah. And that's like really good point because like you could be set up to have bigger reactions at the haunted museum
Hmm.
because they insist upon it. So for example, there was one guy's shrunken head. Um, and they were like, go into the room, but we ask that you be dead silent because this is his final resting place. And because we can't determine like the origin or anything like that, just be respectful. If you can't honor that, then you're kicked out. Like it was
Hmm.
very much stuff like that. So you go in and you look and you see, and then Peggy the Haunted Doll, for example, you were instructed to greet her and then leave her or like say goodbye. You say like hello Peggy and then goodbye Peggy or like thank you Peggy to talk to her. And they insisted upon that some of that respect. And they also were like, hey, this room has a history of really affecting people. Just let the guide know if you don't want to go in. And then they would show footage of people like passing the fuck out, like you know what I mean?
Whoa,
So they're
yeah.
like, "We'll prove it, bitch." And then
Hmm.
it's just security cam of
Hmm.
people going through the tour and then just all of a sudden like eating dirt.
Hmm. It's interesting because it's like not only is that an objectively fantastic experience,
Hmm.
it also, even if intentionally or unintentionally, sets you up to like
Yeah.
be very in tune with like, even if it's you scaring yourself, no matter what version of reality you want to believe in, whether it's full believer, skeptic, or non-believer, positioning it like that, where you are requiring participation and
Hmm.
you're setting the scene. It's very theatrical almost. And you're gonna have a good time no matter what. So I love that.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
It was great. And it was also like just respectful. Like if you could go up to the guide and be like, I like one lady wanted to skip an entire portion. She didn't like clowns. And they were like, where's the clown one? Okay, we have three clowns up here on the end. So just look that way as we pass them. Like they were so cool about stuff too. It wasn't like,
Hmm.
oh, blah, 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 you don't want to go in. And it was very much of like, I don't really want to, I'm not into that. And they'd be like, okay. And they would just like, it was so good. But it was very long too. It was like 2.5 hours of just
That's
going to
so
fucked up,
cool
fucked up,
though.
fucked up, fucked up. Everything was fucked up.
Shout out your
They,
guided tours, dude. Shout out your guided tour guides. Shout out to
yeah.
them being very educated and eloquent. I feel like
Hmm.
as we both work in the tourism and leisure industry, if you will, a lot of people are moving to self-guided tours. And I think that's cool, sure. But there is nothing like a good guide who knows their shit and
Yep.
who makes sure everyone is having, and I say enjoyable with an asterisk because, maybe this wasn't the most enjoyable, but informed and informed because sometimes
Oh,
it's not entertaining, but
I would go
informed.
back tenfold, and
Yeah.
I would recommend this to anyone.
We went on a cemetery tour in Louisiana with a partner we actually work with, and I'm blanking on the
Hmm.
names. It's like I'm not sure if it's Ghost City. It might be Ghost City. We did a bunch of tours. This was the best. The guide
Hmm.
was just I was eating out of the palm of his hand
Yeah.
because he was just so informed, so educated, so historical, which I loved. And I wonder if they did something similar for you. Like, and it's how they almost ensure everyone on the tour is having a good time. Because even
Yep.
if you don't believe in the ookie spooky, he would start with like his ookie spooky and then he would end with historical lore. Like, oh,
Exactly.
did
Yeah.
you know that the majority of settlers in Louisiana died from malaria, like from mosquito bites and like just
Hmm.
incredible history. So, did they
Yeah.
do something similar on this?
They did. Like for example, they had Ed Gein's like pot where he like boiled stuff in, and then they had like skinned human flesh that was real, not from Ed Gein, but Zach had acquired it and it showed the nipple and everything, and it was in
Hmm.
that room. And they went into the history of it, some of his experience in like prison and how like it kind of kicked off like some psychology in terms of like trauma and things like that. So they covered so much. Like they had
Mm.
a Natalie Wood room, the lady who drowned, where Christopher Walken was on board. Um, a lot of historical information going into everything with the pizzazz of like Zach Baggins coming down on a little screen to like introduce it and talk about how they got it, and then showing footage of people reacting poorly with it or doing like spirit box sessions, and then the guide also like pizzazzing it up, being like,
Yeah.
oh, notice here, and then she'd be like, click click, you can see the blood splatter still, and we were like,
Uh,
oh, like, you know what
that's
I mean?
fantastic.
So it was constantly a cherry on top.
Did you give them a Google
um
review?
Not yet. I need to. I was gonna give them a Google review, and then when I went in I saw that they were with our direct competition, and I was like, no.
No.
I took it so personal. I was like,
Are you kidding me?
but I'm gonna give them such a good review
Oh.
because Noelle and I did that Ogden history tour a few years ago, and it
It
was
was
bad,
the
bitch.
worst thing I've ever done.
Oh, there was like the point where I was like, I'm just gonna pop in and do a quick 3 or 4 shots here at this place
Yeah.
because I am so bored. And I've done,
Oh,
but like I've had tours like in Tombstone that were brilliant. So, um,
I'm gonna screenshot this and share this in a Slack channel and say, wouldn't it be crazy
it
if
wouldn't be weird.
wouldn't it be
Um,
crazy if we happened?
yeah. I know I
Anyway,
was like so tempted. It's so funny though how like that stuff when you're in the industry, you know what to look for. And I was like,
yep.
this would be so much easier if we did it. So man of the hour in 2018, Baggins invites rapper and friend Post Malone to the museum.
Hmm.
And you can see this on a Ghost Adventures episode and YouTube. But I don't know what Zach's thing was because he brings celebrities into the hotel and then he just fucking plays like he's on a playground. So he's like,
Yeah, they were
hey,
like partying and like drinking
yeah,
and were
they're
like
like,
giggling and running through the halls.
so the way Oliver described it to me is you go into the Dybbuk Box room and there is glass, like a glass, fully fucking glass case. And then the Dybbuk Box sits on a stand, which is also encased in plexiglass. So
Hmm.
Zach was like, let's take all the glass down and like fucking touch it, you know? And he has footage from his little security camera where it shows him touch it. And then he's just like, at Post Malone, and Post Malone's terrified in the doorway, and he's like, "Man, you okay? Are you okay?" And then comes and like pushes him away from the box, and then Zach goes, starts crying,
Whoa.
and Post is like, "Are you okay?" And Zach's like, "There's something in the corner," and is like fucking freaking out. So he's like, "Touch it, Post, touch it," and they're just like drunk and fucking around with this shit. So obviously did not work out that well for old Posty Post after he touches the Dybbuk box.
Yeah, because he did touch it.
Yeah,
He touched it and like they like ran away.
Yeah, dude, it was like when you go and like doorbell ditch somebody.
Mhm.
It was like that level of
That's what it looked
joviality.
like. Yeah.
But it was like you're doorbell ditching the devil.
Yeah.
So Posty touches it, and then immediately after his plane almost crashes and has to make an emergency landing.
Do you remember watching that live?
Yeah.
I remember having YouTube up and like the news was covering it live, and it was like they were doing the thing where they just send the plane in circles to try to burn as much fuel as possible so if they do crash it doesn't blow up as
Yeah.
big as it could. And I was like,
I've had my plane do that
on.
before. Oh my
Really?
God. When I was going to Tucson, they would have us come in for a landing almost, shoot straight up, do a circle, go in for a landing, shoot straight up. I was done.
Incredible.
Done. So then maybe airplane travel isn't the way to go for El Posty. But then his Rolls Royce was in an accident, a pretty severe accident.
Yeah, didn't it like wrap around a pole?
Yeah, that's like a murder. It's like a death and destruction, James Mansfield level accident.
Yeah.
And then his house was robbed. So he's not safe in sky, nor car, nor home. And he lives in a nice place in Utah. I don't feel like robberies happen in Park City.
Was it that one? I thought he lives in Mill Creek.
I think it was his Park City house.
Oh,
got robbed. And this was all within a week or two of his encounter with the box.
Dude, I would be so bummed if my plane almost blew up and then I got a car accident the same week. I'd be like, fuck!
Yeah, I would go home and then you get robbed.
They're coming for me.
So fans were like, this is because you got cursed because you fucking touched the box.
That was immediately the discourse was that.
And so reflecting, perhaps with more insight, Megan said later that I've seen a lot of haunted things in my career, but the Dybbuk Box is in a class of its own because it doesn't just haunt a place, it haunts people and it changes lives in ways that define reason. So people question whether or not the Dybbuk Box can truly hold supernatural power. I think that it can. But there are people who have come out, like Manus, the original owner. He said that he was fabricating the story as part of a social experiment. He wanted to try out marketing tactics. He said that he did various Jewish folklore with his own imagination. He wanted to create a scary story. But I think that is one of those recants that come back with how famous it got, because he has also done interviews with Zach after this recanting where he's like, yeah, I am trying to eschew some of the responsibility for the evil that the box has done. Especially wishing that he would never have opened it and that he would have just listened to that girl. And also that girl never should have fucking sold it because the grandma wanted it buried with her.
Interesting. It's, there has been a few situations where people like backtrack on something and say that they made it up as a like social experiment. Like, this is so obscure, but you know that fucking guy on YouTube? His name is like Nikocavo Avocado or something like that.
Yes, the guy who was skinny.
Yeah, so he was like morbidly obese and would do like mukbangs where he would eat 17 pounds of fucking bulldog noodles. And he, it was a whole thing and it was like really gross and nasty. And you were like watching him die basically by overeating. And then just on a random day, like 2 months ago, he posts the most fucking cringe lord Joker-esque video where he's skinny as fuck, and he's literally talking like the Joker, like And this was all a social experiment to see what you would think. And he was like doing it all. And I was like, first of all, bitch, no,
No,
Ozempic was just
it just,
invented, you
yeah,
fucking
it
idiot.
definitely wasn't.
Like this was not some elaborate scheme for the last 10 years to
Hmm.
become like foot's about to get chopped off levels of morbidly obese and unhealthy and
Yeah.
to then be like surprise no bitch the Ozempic came out the
Yeah.
timelines are adding up but it's just
Also,
like
you broke
this
up with your boyfriend, right? Who was
the
making you do
feeder
this.
the
Like,
feeder yeah
yeah, you broke up with your feeder.
it's just like
Um,
the whole like and he clearly did it because like he wanted to seem like smarter than the situation. Like
yeah.
no one wants to admit that they were in a years-long relationship with a feeder who almost fed them to the point where they
Yeah.
were on death's door. No one wants to do that. They want to seem like they Jokerfied the situation. And so it's like a phenomenon. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's like reminiscent here. Like this
It's like
guy's
trying,
like rewrite history.
especially because like you can trace like it, this woman who built it exists, and there's all these people who exist who are like, yes, this is real. The rabbi who was like, I know what the fuck that is. It's real. All the people who came after him who have had it, and like you're not faking plane crashes. You're not like you can just say that they're that it's situational and causation and correlation. But like for him to try to walk back on the stuff that is proven
Hmm.
with an eBay, he was like, it was just the eBay post. Okay, it was the eBay post, but everything else happened. So how
Hmm.
do you explain that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and there are also people who have kind of come out who are like, I don't think that it's impossible that this thing could be cursed. Especially when you like the power that we give to curses and like create things almost like a tulpa.
Hmm.
So Alan S. Mott, an author who explores urban legends, said, quote, we embrace stories like the Dybbuk Box because they play into our deepest fears about the unknown. They reflect our anxieties about things we can't control or understand, our belief in a supernatural evil that lurks out there, waiting for a chance to strike.
Well, that's
And
exactly it. Because like it's just like a tulpa.
yeah,
If you believe that you're being like I don't know, I'll frame this as someone who lives alone and has lived alone for a while. There are nights where I watch maybe some ghost footage online
hmm.
and then I'm laying in bed and I'm looking at the back of my door and I'm like, there's a shadow. There's someone there.
Right?
You know what I mean? And like
Mhm.
the more you feed the anxiety, the more it becomes real, the more you feel the
Yeah,
presence, the more you see the thing, and the more your mind like gets in that fight or flight mode, and you just
yeah.
have like you make it real. Like it's literally a tulpa. Even if it's not real, if you put that much energy, anxiety, and fear into something, it will
It's
manifest
yeah,
into actual
it's
things.
yeah, it's fucking real to me, damn it, because like that energy is palpable when you're near
Hmm.
it. But for many, the Dybbuk box is like way more than just a myth. It is a big reminder of ancient Jewish traditions that surround spirits and possession. Something that would have been cool for us to go into are like the golems of Judaism that are supposed to like exist and come back and fight for them when they really deserve it.
I was gonna say there's like a whole we've we've touched on the monopoly, if you will, the game monopoly of Christianity, but I
Mhm.
don't think we've gone into the iterations of it like Judaism. Like what is
Yeah.
there? You know what I mean? Like what's their lore? What's their
Maybe
demon?
we
What's
could
their
do a part
story?
two of
Yeah.
golems because that shit's so cool. It's hard though, like I don't want to put any it's like you got to separate the art and the artist. I don't want anyone thinking we're only talking about this Jewish stuff because of Israel. Like, free Palestine, we'll say it. You know what I mean? But it's just like this was the
Yeah,
most
yeah, yeah,
scary
yeah, yeah.
thing to
Yeah.
me. Like,
Yeah.
please don't accuse us of that. That might be me being like too woke, but
No, that's so fucking funny.
okay.
No, we here on this podcast, we are pro the Jewish people and the Jewish religion, anti-Zionist. So
Yes,
get
perfect.
that, get that.
Anti-Zionist, thank you.
We're anti-Zionist here.
Yes. So Again, the Jewish mystic Isaac Luria once described these spirits that clung to the living as evil pregnancies. I love that. Um, so then they were just like literally desperate for a vessel, and they were pushed by unfilled desires or unfinished deeds. And this isn't like Casper, where like your unfinished deed is not apologizing, or like your unfinished deed is
Yeah.
like telling your kid you love them. It's the unfinished deed of needing to cause more evil in this world.
Mm.
And so in Jewish folklore, exorcisms were conducted by a Baalei Shem. I'm so sorry.
Great job.
And the mystics and their mystics skilled in Kabbalistic rites who can confront and expel spirits. They are our exorcists, the Bishem.
Mm-hmm.
So a Dybbuk possession is not just a haunting. It's a literal spiritual crisis that demands intense ritual to sever the connections between the spirit and the host. So from the tales of Rabbi Eliezer of Lublin to the modern day accounts of Dybbuk encounters, the underlying theme is the same. There's an overwhelming fear of souls that refuse to rest, spirits that bring with them reminders of sins, regrets, and wrath. Whether a man-made myth or a genuine artifact of the paranormal, the Dybbuk Box taps into something that is very profoundly unsettling with people. It raises questions about our deepest beliefs and fears, suggests that sometimes our darkest tales create their own reality. And as Haxon once said of the box, quote, "I think belief has power. And maybe the more we believe in something like the Dybbuk Box, the more we invite that darkness into our lives. It becomes real because we make it real."
Exactly.
So today, the Dybbuk Box sits in a glass case in Zak Bagans' Haunted Museum, and it is a haunting testament to the power of folklore, belief, and the tantalizing mystery of what lies beyond. It does draw hundreds of visitors each year, and if I wasn't brave enough, but Oliver did stand close, he leaned in, because people say that you can hear whispers of whatever darkness might still cling to that cabinet's wooden frame. But as Manus, Haxon, and Baggins would caution, the Dybbuk Box is not something to take lightly. So for those who are braver than me to approach, I would say don't dare to listen, because in the silence, you might hear the restless spirit within, just waiting patiently, biding its time, and clinging ever so close.
Ooh, how fun. I love that. You know, this has sold me on the Zak Bagans Haunted Museum. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Everyone go, because he
Yeah,
pays his employees living wages
yeah.
and he gives a shit about it. It's not just like a cash grab for him, even though he
Mm.
is insanely rich. But you know what?
How
Fucking,
much was the VIP ticket? Actually, I have
it
their
was like
website pulled up.
$70, I think. Um, and then the shirt that we got after, if you look it up in the gift shop, it was like 36, 37.95.
Yeah, GA is 54. Um, all access, they call it RIP, also not
Yeah.
VIP, hilarious, is 86.
Mm.
Local military and senior discount 48.
It's tight. Local, I love local only stuff.
Local discount fucking rules. Also, I'm gonna have to make my like dad buy our tickets or something because that's nice. Even the VIP local senior military is 80. Those prices are totally fair. And I love that VIP is actually things that are just VIP because I feel like a lot of times VIP is just you get to wait in a separate line. Like
Yeah.
it's not anything, but like this is you get to see things that other people don't, and you also get a t-shirt and lanyard.
Yeah, and there was only one guy in our group who didn't upgrade to VIP, and that was just because he had done that before. So this was like his like third or fourth time at the museum.
Yeah.
And so when they let you into the VIP rooms, so like VIPs come this way. And for our regular guests, you're gonna get extra time in the like serial killer room. So like we went into one
Oh, that's
room.
even fun. That's a fun way to
Yeah,
frame it.
so they get like the exact same tour, but just none of the additions. Um, And so like you're still getting fun stuff, but I would say do the VIP or RIP tour at least once so you can get
Yeah.
all the
What's the shirt look
experience.
like?
It's like it's let me see if I can find it. It's just like the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum, Las
Logo?
Vegas, with like a print of it. Yeah. It's cute. It's like a cute little t-shirt, perfect for a crop. I'm gonna crop mine 100%.
Yeah. Is it this logo that's on their booking widget? Which, first of all, this widget
Trash.
trash. The picture is tiny in the
Um,
corner. The logo is tiny in the corner,
yes,
girl. What's that?
that's literally it. It's a black shirt with the white print of the logo on it.
That's fun. That
And
is
then if you
very
wanted to
fun.
buy it, you'd be spending like $40 after tax.
Yeah,
So,
so might as well.
mhm.
Might
And
as well.
their gift shop has cool stuff in it. It has like um a little bit of everything. I brought a little trinket box, like a
Yeah,
brass box that had the Virgin Mary on it, and I was like, "This is cool." Um, but I will say, Oliver and I felt so fucking like ugh after we got out that I made him pray. I was like, "We got to get the demons off of us."
oh
So
my
they have
God.
like a little, so like you exit out and you're in the parking lot, and then they're like, "If you're calling an Uber, make sure you use this address so that they know to come to the back." And we're like we're saying like the Lord's Prayer. It was fucking scary, dude. There was a heaviness and we felt gross.
It's actually so funny that Zach Baggins, if you're listening, you should make an extension to the at the end of the tour that's like a cleanse yourself room.
Yeah, he had like a big salt chair that you could sit in. You're supposed to take a deep breath in and out. But like if you could walk us under like sage smoke, that just like
Hmm.
I'll pay $5 extra to get fully saged.
Yeah,
With like
there's like
sage deodorant,
monks
sage tea.
chanting. Yeah, you can like
Yeah.
you take the salt, they give you a crystal, you get hit with sage bundles.
Yep.
That would if
Like,
that was an extra $10 add-on, I would pay it.
yeah, I would too. Every
That's
time.
funny.
So that should be an add-on. Please. We'll tag him in
Also,
this.
looking at the on his website at the Dybbuk box, it almost looks like it's in a cathedral. Like he has like cathedral style entrances, and is that correct? Look at this.
No, I see what
Um,
you're saying.
yeah.
I think that's like the big
Oh, because
glass
you didn't
case.
go, you wouldn't know.
Right. So Oliver was like, the room is big, but there's like a huge encasement. And then
The
the
encasement is
within it,
Hebrew.
yeah. So
Very
and that's so
fucking
it's so
cool.
fucking scary, right? Is because
Very
there's
fucking
such a
cool.
reverence. Even that like devil's chair is behind plexiglass and they have like religious artifacts around it. There were like rosaries hanging over certain doors and they would like instruct you like what to do. They're like, "Oh, make sure you do this, make sure you don't
Hmm.
do that." Like if you don't want any malevolent spirits being upset with you. It was intense.
The Dybbuk box picture reminds me of like 13 Ghosts because it's encapsulated in glass that has
Mhm.
like Hebrew scripture written on all
Yeah.
360 of the glass. It's very, very cool. Also,
So
I didn't realize like what you were saying about the demon house is that he took the actual staircase to the basement and has installed it as a staircase you go down to get into the basement of, and then there's a door.
yeah, so you walk into the demon house room and there's walls everywhere.
Are
And
you
then
walking down the
no,
stairs that are the demon house stairs?
no, you don't even get to fucking touch them. So you're in, they walk you in, and then they're like, this is the only room in the house that Zach insists that there's like a cross over the door through the threshold. People have bad experiences in here. You don't have to go in. And then you go in, and then the screen comes, and then Zach explains like how he acquired it. And then it goes, this is your last chance to leave now. And then the walls go zoop, fall down, and it's plexiglass. And
Hmm.
it's like you can lean in and see like the stairs and the dirt from the house. And Oliver said it fucking stunk.
That's so cool. It's Contains the actual staircase to hell as well as the dirt and ritual items discovered by
Mhm.
police. And then the ritual items are in a box. That is so fun.
Yeah, it's and paying like $80 for a 2.5 hour tour, guided tour.
Yeah.
Small groups too. They're not big groups. We had 13 and they were like, "Oh, that's one of our bigger groups." And like 13, that's not
Yeah.
huge. So,
That is so fun. Wow, Zach.
very
Zach
good. 10 out of 10.
Bagans. That's so cool. I love that. I love that a lot. Well, if you're in Vegas, go check it out. We love a man who wears a fedora and pays a living wage.
I hate that. It's so weird. It's hard to reconcile that in my head.
I know. I'd like to think that maybe he like changed. Like maybe like he was always like a douche asshole, like how
Hmm.
he was to Uncle Tito. And then he started dating Holly Madison and then
Yeah.
he like got right with himself.
Yeah, she changed him for the
Changed
good.
him, yeah.
I hope.
That's what I'd like to think. That's what I'm going to tell myself. So, I love that. I love that so much. Also, we are so out of tune. We forgot to say in the beginning, hey, what's up? My name's Noelle and we just wanted to get into it. I will say, uh living in Salt Lake City and being a vegan who loves donuts is a really hard time. Um,
That was quite the turn. So,
yeah, it's really hard time. And this is my hey, my name is part.
oh,
And
okay.
there is this woman online, her name is Love and Light Bakery. She works out of her home and she makes the most delicious fucking donuts, vegan donuts I have ever had. She just randomly will post like a box of like different flavors and be like, "Who wants it? $14." And
Oh,
then you got to be like, and
yeah.
then
You got to go hard and get it.
yeah, that was me today. Divine, truly divine. I just little donut holes that were vanilla, churro donut,
Oh,
and
that sounds so good.
so fucking good. 360 cinnamon sugar. That actually did stick to it even after you bit it. It didn't fall out, didn't fall off perfectly adhered. And
Mhm.
then a cookie butter
Mm.
donut, just and this is the thing. Peace and love to all the other vegan bakeries out there. And you look at their donuts and they look dense. They look like
Yeah.
a dense sponge cake, and you're like, that's not a fucking donut, bitch. These these are like Homer Simpson donuts. They are
Oh, that sounds so
glorious.
good.
And so shout out Love and Light Bakery in Salt Lake City on Instagram. Just bitch. So fucking good. So yeah, who are you?
I'm Chelsea, and I went to the sugar factory in Vegas, and they had pink hot cocoa, and it felt like it was meant just for me. Not vegan, but because I not as good as Noel's. But you know what's fun?
What?
Drinking hot cocoa that
I
is made.
love that.
So,
Did
and it
it
was
taste different? Did it taste like strawberry?
no, it was just regular. It was called the unicorn hot cocoa, and I saw a little girl drinking one when I came in, and the amount of like whipped cream they put on the top was like a small baby, and then they had like just drizzles of pink and blue and purple and all this stuff. It was so fun, and I was like, just a little treat for myself.
Yeah.
But it was so cute in there, like to go from the haunted museum to the sugar factory. It was a necessary palate
Yeah, I was gonna
cleanser.
say one hell of a palate cleanser.
Yeah, so it was so fun. But I like just a little cute treat now and then, especially if it's a
Yeah.
tank.
Yeah, so
So,
do I. Love a little cute sweet treat.
mhm.
Speaking of sweet treats, you can treat yourself by going to the link tree in all of our bios. We are at Go to Hell Podcast. I am at Noelle Fain. That is at Sith Lord. And in that link tree, you can find a link to our Patreon. Dollar gets you in. This week's episode was a political roundup, if you will. So listen to that, have fun, commiserate with us, learn with us. Um, you can also find a link to our merch. 100% of proceeds are donated. And considering everything that's going on in the world, we'll definitely do a merch refresh and we'll definitely do a charity refresh. So, more to come on that. We've been DMing Kelly Halloran. So, there are ideas. There are ideas. They're coming to fruition. Also, speaking of, you can click a link to Kelly Halloran or at Wildwood Owl on Etsy. She makes cool shit for us. She makes cool shit in general. There's still a few of our bandanas left up. 'Tis the season to gift for yourself or someone else. The bandanas are adorable in your hair, around your neck, or to hide the snot that will fall out of your nose during this winter season. Um, we also have a link to our YouTube page. Yeah. Where you can like, subscribe, comment, and bully us. Do whatever you want on YouTube because we cuss too much within the first 30 seconds. So YouTube doesn't do anything with us because of that. So it is up to you.
Yeah, we're not getting paid. This is not some shameless plug.
It is just for you. So check that out. Of course, we also have links to some resources, including a way to both non-financial and financial ways to help the people in Gaza, free Palestine, as Chelsea wanted to remind everyone. We are pro the Jewish religion, pro-Jewish people, anti-Zionist. Please get familiar with the distinction. So retweet on that. And I don't know why you'd need it, but there's also a link to listen to us, which is anywhere podcasts are heard.
Amen.
And I also want to say, before we get into the hails, there were some people who were like, Noelle, please don't delete old episodes. And I gave you all that for a while.
Yeah.
I did. And then some things have happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, it is unethical for me to keep any of this up. So if you are one of those people, I am sorry, but it is all fucking gone. Fully deleted, not just archived, fully deleted and removed from the internet. Because there is no way on fucking Lady Gaga's internet that I am going to allow for someone who is now connected with bigotry and homophobia and the repealing of body autonomy to have anything to do with us or this podcast. So fucking sorry. To that person, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Amen twice.
If heaven is real, you're not fucking going, I'll tell you that much. So, in honor of that, actually, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna take it old school. I'm gonna put my cringe hat on. I'm gonna put my cringe fedora on. I'm putting my cringe fedora on. I'm logging into Reddit and I am saying, "Hail fucking Satan."
I'm saying hail, not bleeping out sex workers, and hail, not bleeping out the word gay.
Slay, sister, slay. Also, not bleeping out the word abortion. The word abortion is not a fucking bad word. Thank God for abortion. That's what I say.
Abortion! Thank you, God, for abortions. You can learn more about how to do a safe at-home abortion by reading the Bible. Look for the bitter herbs and bitter waters verse. Thank you, Jesus, for giving us such knowledge in the Bible.
And also, thank you, Jesus, for loving and supporting and protecting and appreciating your historical sex workers. Sex workers make the world go round. So shout out to them.
Yep. Thanks, Jesus, for trans people.
Thank
you.
you
For gay people.
Thank you. Thank you for creating trans people and gay people in your image, which is perfect. And with love and compassion and empathy. And thank you so much for that. So
we're going to put church bells over this.
Yep. That's my hymn and prayer for the day.
Yep. Love
Okay.
it. Spread that love and light, girl.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
All right. Bye.
Bye.